Have you ever heard something from your wife or longtime partner that stopped you in your tracks, not because it was loud or cruel, but because it felt deeply wrong in your spirit? Something you couldn't explain, but your heart whispered? This isn't love anymore. This is harm in disguise. If you're over 60, chances are you've learned that not all pain comes from shouting. Sometimes the sharpest wounds are carved quietly through phrases, glances, or silence. And as Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. We're going to explore 5 powerful things a woman might say to you, phrases that may seem ordinary on the surface, but carry dangerous psychological weight underneath. These are signs of emotional erosion, patterns of control, and expressions of resentment that can slowly destroy your confidence, your independence, and your peace. And if you've heard these, it may be time not for a conversation, but for a decision. So lean in, my modern and unstoppable seniors. This is your moment of truth. Let's protect your heart, your mind, and your dignity together. Before we dive in, if you're still not subscribed, subscribe now and click the bell so you don't miss the next care tip designed especially for you. Go ahead and tap that like button. It blesses your journey and helps bring this message to other modern and unstoppable seniors who need it too. Number 1, you'd be nothing without me. At first glance, this might sound like frustration, but in truth, it's a statement of emotional domination. A deeply manipulative phrase meant to dismantle your self-worth and reframe your identity as dependent on her approval. Let's consider the story of Ronald, a 74-year-old former business owner who had built a modest life after retirement. His wife had stood by him in their younger years, but now, after 50 years together, she began to say this phrase quietly but frequently. You'd be nothing without me. At first, Ronald laughed it off. He told himself, she's just venting. But slowly that sentence began to follow him. He stopped making decisions without asking for her permission. He began apologizing for things he didn't do. And eventually, he stopped dreaming about the future. Why? Because psychologically, this phrase strips a man of his masculine dignity. Carl Jung spoke deeply about the need for individuation, our ability to stand as whole individuals, not fragmented shadows beneath another's ego. This phrase kills individuation, traps you in guilt, shame, and dependency. And for seniors, that dependency can quickly turn into silence, resignation, and even depression. Don't ignore this one. It may sound like frustration, but it's actually a weapon. And if it continues, it becomes a slow erosion of your soul. Number 2, nobody else would ever want you. This one cuts deeper than you might realize, because it's not just about the present. It's a psychological trap that makes you feel trapped forever. David, a 76-year-old widower who remarried later in life, began to hear this line from his second wife during arguments. It wasn't screamed, it was whispered almost casually. Nobody else would ever want you. That sentence didn't just insult him, it isolated him. It made him question his value, his attractiveness, and his options. And eventually, he began to believe it. This phrase is emotional blackmail cloaked in insecurity. It's a projection. She may fear losing you, but rather than express that vulnerability, she attacks your self-image to keep you from leaving. Psychologists call this preemptive abandonment. It's when a person tries to secure control by making you feel like leaving would be impossible or humiliating. But here's the truth. My modern and unstoppable seniors, your worth doesn't expire with age. Emotional connection, affection, and even romance don't have an age limit. You are still desirable, still valuable, still full of life. Never stay in a relationship because someone convinced you that no one else would love you. That's not a partnership, it's imprisonment. Number 3, you're useless now. Few words are more cruel than this. And tragically, many older men hear it in moments of weakness, when they're facing health issues, retirement, or simply the slower pace of aging. Joseph, 80, had knee surgery and needed help walking for a few weeks. During this time, his wife became resentful. One day, as she struggled with grocery bags, she snapped, "You're useless now." Those 3 words stayed with him long after the physical pain was gone. Why? Because they targeted his identity. Men are often raised to be providers. Problem solvers? The Rock. But as Carl Jung warned, when one's outer role fades, the inner life must rise. Aging forces us to move inward, to become wise, reflective, emotionally connected. But when someone uses your aging body as evidence that you're no longer needed, they're denying your evolution. They're trying to freeze you in the past stand. Punishing you for aging, that is not love. Your worth isn't measured by what you can lift or how fast you move. It's measured by your wisdom, your compassion, and your presence. Any partner who can't see that doesn't deserve your heart. Number 4. I don't care what you think. This one may sound simple, even petty, but it's a devastating rejection of your voice. It tells you that your opinion, your insight, and your years of experience hold no weight. Frank, a retired psychologist, began to notice that his wife would cut him off in discussions about finances or family issues. When he'd offer a thought, she'd roll her eyes and say, "I don't care what you think." At first, he stayed quiet to keep the peace, but silence became his pattern. And silence, over time, turned into emotional erasure. According to Jungian psychology, this is the death of dialogue. When your voice is denied, you're not in a relationship, you're in a monologue. And for seniors, losing your voice in your own home can lead to emotional numbness, isolation, and cognitive decline. You have a right to be heard. And any partner who tells you otherwise is trying to reduce you to a spectator in your own life. Walk away from that kind of silence. Number 5. I regret marrying you. This is one of the most dangerous phrases a spouse can utter. It doesn't just attack the present, it rewrites the entire history of your relationship. Lenny, 82, heard this during an argument. His wife of 55 years looked him in the eyes and said, "Sometimes I regret marrying you." Those words shook him to his core, not because they were loud, but because they unraveled 5 decades of shared life. Carl Jung believed deeply in the power of shared narrative. A marriage is not just a collection of years. It's a story to people write together. When one person disowns that story, it can feel like a betrayal of your very existence. This phrase turns your legacy into a lie, and that kind of emotional rewriting isn't something you should tolerate, not in your 30s, certainly not in your 70s or 80s. You deserve to grow old with someone who respects your shared history, who honors the story you wrote together even in its misigns. If someone uses your past as a weapon, it may be time to close that chapter and start a new one. Final reflections, 40-minute pacing conclusion, my modern and unstoppable seniors. Relationships in our later years should bring us peace, not pain. Love should feel like a shelter, not a storm. And if you've heard any of these 5 phrases, I urge you to pause, reflect, and protect yourself. This isn't about villainizing women. It's about recognizing emotional red flags. These words may come from pain, insecurity, or fear, but that does not make them acceptable. Carl Jung taught us that the soul knows when something isn't right. It whispers before it screams. And if you're hearing these phrases, your soul might already be calling you to walk away, not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. Remember, walking away is not failure, it's freedom. Freedom to reclaim your dignity. Freedom to rediscover your joy. Freedom to be surrounded by those who speak life into you, not death. Your years ahead are sacred, and you deserve to live them with grace, peace, and the deep knowing that you are enough. If you're still watching, type "I deserve peace" in the comments to let me know you stayed with me and that you're choosing wisdom over emotional harm. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our weekly videos here. On Wellness for Modern Seniors, where we honor your experience, your journey, and your unstoppable spirit. We're here to uplift, to inform, to walk with you through the joys and the trials of aging with strength. Until next time, my modern and unstoppable seniors, stay wise, stay strong, and never settle for less than the love you truly deserve.